Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Matt. Thanks for stopping by the channel. Now I've got a pretty unique pattern for you today. I found this one in Randall Scott Stetzer's Flies the Best 1000, but when doing the research, I also found that it was in Eric Leiser's 1987 Book of Fly Patterns. Pretty cool book. If you don't have it, worth checking out. So this fly, it's called the burlap. Now Leiser gives credit to this pattern to Arnold Arana, who created it in 1945 fishing on the Klamath River. And it was originally tied for steelhead in some pretty big sizes. But I've seen a few references to it tied in smaller sizes as a general searching nymph, and that's how Stetzer has it in his book. Now I did see one other YouTube video of this pattern. Ralph Long has one where he ties it with a bead in a smaller trout or warm water panfish size. And I'm going to tie it in, one of the trout sizes too. So the most interesting and unique thing about this pattern is, the body. It's burlap. I cut a little strip from an old feed sack I had out in the barn, and that's what I'm using for it. So, pretty cool pattern, very simple. I think you're going to like it. Let's give it a shot. So there's one in the vise, a burlap. Pretty simple pattern, but at the same time, kind of unique. I'm tying this on a size 14. It's a 2X long nymph hook, and you could weight this thing. I'm not going to. I will just fish it with a split shot if I needed to. But I'll put a base of 1070 denier. I'm going to take it all the way back to the bend. Now the tail on this guy, just deer hair. Just some of this right here, not a big piece. Put it in your stacker, get the tips aligned. Let's see how well that did right there. That should work, we'll see. Now deer hair is hollow, but it's not as hollow toward the tips. So that's about all we're going to tie in. A little bit longer than a hook gap, I'd say. So it'll flare a little bit on you, but not too much. And you want a little bit of flare anyway. There we go. I've got some coming off the bottom, but we can take care of that. And I'm going to leave this in, just kind of let this be part of my underbody. I'm going ahead and wrap it up here to where I'm going to end my body. Okay, that's fine right there. Let's go ahead and snip this excess off. A few thread wraps just to smooth this out. Now the most unique part about this, and what gets it its name, is just grab a scrap piece of burlap. See this right here? And then I will just pull one of these fibers out. You see one of these running up and down right there. After you get it pulled out, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be crinkly and kind of buggy. But I'm going to catch it in and then run it the whole length of the body here. So let's see, right here I've got a couple fibers going forward that I'll have to trim, but that's fine. So again, this is part of my underbody. Now take my thread back up here, clean that up. That's where we're going to tie our hackle in. Now this particular piece of burlap is kind of the opposite of thread in how it's wound. You might want to spin it and flatten it out. In this case, spinning clockwise kind of flattens it out. But you could leave it roped if you wanted a thicker and perhaps more segmented body. But I think it looks a little bit better just kind of like this right here. So I'm going to let it start laying flat on me a little bit. And then just take it up here to where I'm going to catch it off. I'm not worried so much about a taper. But I think 2 good thread wraps right here should catch this off. And if you've never worked with burlap, and until today I had not, it's pretty thick stuff. So take your thick scissors, your big hair scissors, if you got them, to snip that off. Not your real fine tipped sharp scissors. And I'm going to just kind of build a little bit of a base right here to make it easier to wrap this hackle. It's a little lumpy right there. Okay, now for the hackle, just some Grizzly hen. Undyed, dyed if you want, but the pattern in the book calls for just standard Grizzly hen. So Grizzly soft hackle right here. I'm going to catch it in 2 or 3 wraps. Okay, I'll fold that tip back just so I can, you know, catch this end before I snip it. And it's not really cooperating, but there we go. Okay. Now I can snip that tip without worrying about the feather pulling out on me. Now, probably 2 wraps. I don't think it's going to take much more than that. So there's one, and then the next wrap right in front of this one. Kind of going all over the place on me, but that's okay. We've got time to clean it all up. I think 2 wraps right there is going to give us enough hackle. So get this locked in. All right, see, yeah, that's plenty. Now let's go ahead and snip this excess off. Just as close as you can get it right there. Now a little bit of cleanup. Just going to push these fibers back and get a swept back look and build the head. So a few wraps right behind the eye, then I'm going to ramp it back up. And don't be afraid to make a big head. It's a nymph. Big enough to at least get a nice whip finish on it and then some head cement. I think that's going to be fine right there. We'll put about a 4-turn whip finish before we do some head cement. And I've got a few fibers sticking off the back right there I'm going to have to trim. So let's go in here and kind of saw that off. What are these fibers? Okay, they were just loose fibers right there. I don't know if that's from the bucktail or the burlap, but I'm going to snip that one right there. So there you go, folks. Pretty nifty looking little pattern. I've never fished it, but you know, I'm going to give it a shot. I think it looks cool. So I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.